Hi everybody, Rick Dyson here from the Winter Sports Company. Thanks for tuning in. This is where we have a little chat with one of our past and previous clients and understand how to do a ski season in Canada for your gap year. Okay, let's get to it. Charlotte, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for spending a bit of time. It's much appreciated. Shall we start with the basics? Do you just want
Yeah.
to tell the viewers and listeners a little bit about yourself and what motivated you to do a ski season in Canada?
Yeah, sure. So I am from Germany, from Düsseldorf or from the near, and I'm studying English to become a teacher. So yeah, I really like the language, and I skied my whole life. And as a child, I always said that I wanted to become a ski instructor someday. So yeah, and for the last few years, I worked in an indoor ski place in Germany, and yeah, then I decided that I want to spend a season outside of the indoor place. And because of my English studies, I need to spend some time abroad in an English speaking country. So, yeah, I was thinking about how I can combine these things. And I was like, okay, where can I ski for a whole winter? And where can I speak English and spend like some time abroad? And then I was like, oh, in Canada. So I Googled, okay, becoming a ski instructor in Canada. And then I found your company, and yeah, that was it.
Brilliant. Okay. And how easy was the process? Can you describe to everybody a little bit what you went through, how long it took, and what were the main events that you had to get over? What were the main hurdles that you had to do?
Yeah, so I looked through your programs on the website, and then when I found the one that I was like most interested, it was like super easy to get in contact and ask whatever questions. And it's like either to call you or to send an email or read the FAQs or whatever. So the contact was like super easy, which was like super nice because that helped me to decide on which course I want to go or which ski resort or whatever. And yeah, I think the most challenging process for me was like the to get the visa because I didn't have a passport at first. So because I only had my ID, so I had to get my passport, and there was a little panic to not get my visa, but that was
Yeah,
like, yeah, in the end it was super quick.
yeah.
So I should not have worried so much about that. And yeah, as soon as I got my visa, we stayed in contact and we just organized everything I wanted to have in my course. And yeah.
Yeah, I remember a little bit of last minute panic going on, but it all lined out in the end. All right, so you got your visa, you got your insurance, you got your bags packed. Um, what were the first 3 weeks like when you got out to Canada?
Oh yes, they were wild. I remember arriving at the airport and I was a little bit lost because the the travel time was long for me, and I was the only one who did not speak English as their native language. So I was tired and I couldn't understand all the different accents, like the British guys or from
Yeah.
Australia or whatever. So that was a little hard, but
And you
yeah,
were you the only German that year, or was there another
yeah,
girl? Okay.
yeah, yeah.
So
I think I was the
that's
first
quite a
German.
challenge. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's brave.
yeah, but that was all right after like 2 days, and we spent the first 2 days in Calgary to get like all our what was it like
We got the SIN number done, so
the
that
SIN
makes
number,
you
yeah,
legal to work, and
yeah,
went out
and
for a meal.
all this stuff, and maybe do some last minute shopping before go into the ski resort. And that was like really nice because I couldn't have organized it by myself, honestly. It was like so good to have like a group and where everybody has like the same struggle, and we got you who takes us
Yeah,
everywhere we need to go. And yeah, and then we arrived at the ski resort and had like 2 or 3 weeks training for level one, which was like super intense because it was cold and I was not used to that amount of cold, but yeah, that was yeah, it was just intense and
yeah,
sometimes exhausting, but it was so fun. I guess it's like the most fun 3 weeks
yeah.
because we didn't have work and we just skied every day and we got to know each other so well, and it was just nice to spend the day on the mountain with all our
Yeah.
already friends. I guess,
Yeah.
and we
And
all
did
lived together. Yeah, that was nice.
sorry to interrupt. Did that first 2 days in Calgary help? Do you think sort of gel everybody together? Was it good to
Yeah.
spend that time there before going straight up to resort and getting into your training?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Okay.
because there are already smaller groups like showed like who's friends with who, which was directly easy to find friends in the resort that you can live together. Um, yeah, I think that was
Okay.
really good. And also like to have a last day in a proper city where you could like
Yeah,
I don't
before you get to the mountains. Yeah,
yeah,
okay. And
yeah.
um, okay, so you've just had quite an intense 2 weeks up in resort. You especially, because you've had a crash course in English of all different dialects. So hats off to you for doing that. And then you've passed your level one. I seem to remember a few dusty heads the next morning, a few celebrations going on. But then you're into it, right? You're straight into it. We're handing you over to the ski school, and then you're working quite hard over the Christmas period. So, what was that like? What was a typical day at work for a Canadian ski school?
Yeah, so first of all, either if we had work or not, we spent the day on the mountain. So that it was like the first thing when we got up. It's like, yeah, okay, well, what are we doing? Like, okay, let's go skiing or go working. And then you arrive at work, you have like your morning meeting, and everybody is like getting their boots on and skis and like a little bit, yeah, chaotic in the in the dressing room. But yeah, everybody was ready for the day, and then you got to know which course you have, if you have a private lesson, a group lesson, a lesson with smaller children or with adults or whatever. And then you do the lesson for 2.5 hours, and you have lunch, um, and then you have lesson again until like was it like 3 or 4 p.m. and then yeah, you finish the lesson, and then you usually have time to go for a ski again by your own.
Yeah,
So usually all the colleagues come together, they have all finished their classes, and yeah, got got their children back to their parents, and then we say, okay, what are we doing with the rest of the day? And then the lifts were still open for another hour or maybe hour and a half, and then yeah, you could ski for another 1 or 2 hours, and then go to the bar.
yeah.
Yeah.
And did you decide to do the race program while in
Yeah,
Colorado?
yeah, I did. So when we did our level one training, Izzy, our instructor, came to me and asked me if I was interested because I am already on the level to be able to pass the level one easily. So it was not that I was like, so it was not obligatory that I attend every day of level one training because already was
Yeah,
like the level where you can say you can easily pass it. And then I did the race coach level one in like, I think it was 3 or 4 days
yeah,
while the others had their level one training. So I just did like the 2 exams at once. So yeah.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
brilliant. And how did you balance your day out? You've obviously got to work for the ski school, but you also need some free time off. So did you find that you were working a lot and having very little free time, or was it a nice balance?
No, I'd say it was a nice balance. So you always had at least 2 days off a week. So I usually spend one day off, like doing laundry, going to the supermarket, or go shopping or whatever. But honestly, we spend most of our free time on the slopes anyways. So yeah. Uh, but I have to say that some days when I was like exhausted or I was like, I don't know, like in mid-season and where you were like, oh, okay, I could need a break, then you just go home after work. So you're home at like 4 p.m. and then you still have like half the day to do your stuff or be alone at home and
Yeah,
just
learning to take a
relax.
day out and just relax
Yeah,
a little bit.
yeah,
And
I'd say,
and and look, I don't want to paint a picture to all the viewers who are listening to this that it's a powder day every day out in Canada and everything's covered in rose petals. There are obviously challenges, there are obviously some ups and downs during your season. What did you find, okay, apart from the language side of things, which I think you coped with fantastically, what was one of your biggest challenges throughout the season?
Yeah, I'd actually say that the powder was one of my biggest challenges, especially in the beginning, because I've never skied in powder before. So we had our first day of level 2 training. I remember that day,
Yeah,
and it was like there was so much snow, and I was like, "Okay, how am I supposed to do it?" And then I just gave it a try, and then, yeah, it was a horrible day, I have to admit. I I could not ski, and then I canceled it and just went inside
there's
and cried.
there's not many people who complain about a powder day, but I
Yeah, I
understand where
know.
you're coming from when the pressure's on and you've got to perform and it's
Yeah,
snowed at the wrong time. It's yeah, it's an extra challenge,
yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, it
And
was a lot.
what was the best part of your season? So the whole season,
Um
what was the best part?
Yeah, actually the best part was that you like so for me that I overwhelmed my fears of the powder at first, and then I just got more confident with skiing everywhere and not on the like super well prepared slope, so that I just can go anywhere in the ski resort and just go down there, even if it's like super deep snow. And just with that confidence, we did the trip to Lake Louise by the end of the season. And there I was already like so confident that I can just go there and have fun. And like we didn't have work. We were just with our friends and just went down all the slopes like we were crazy. And that was
Yeah,
like the best part, that you get so confident in your skiing that you can just, yeah, have fun
yeah.
without any worries. And yeah.
Fantastic. Well, listen, just a couple more questions and then we'll wrap this up. So I just wanted to give all the viewers back home a little bit of advice. So if you've got any tips that you can offer anybody, should we just go through a list quickly? So have you got anything to say to everybody about getting a visa at the beginning?
Yeah, take a look at YouTube tutorials or online blogs, or you have a guide as well. So I just like I googled everything, and there were like so many guides to help you through, and it's so worth it to look them through.
Okay.
It's like it's
And
everywhere.
for you to do a ski season in Canada, whether it's for a gap year or you're going to work and out in Canada, getting a visa is vital. So when would you say that they should start the process? How early?
Um, yeah, so if you want to leave in November, like I did, you should start like in April or May. That's what I did, and it perfectly worked out.
Okay.
So I had loads of time left to get my visa, but I was also pretty lucky that I got it early. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and just on that point, next year, the Canadian government are going to reduce the amount of foreign workers coming into Canada, and this is going to affect the IEC program. So while Charlotte had a really lucky break and got her visa started in April or May, please, please, please don't leave it that late anymore. The IEC visa process is usually going to open in December. First draw is in January, and you really need to get onto the mark, jump on it, and start your visa process nice and early. Otherwise, you might be disappointed at the other end. Okay. Anything about insurance that you can share?
Um, yeah, so I think the German insurance is a little different from UK and stuff. So, but yeah, I also read blogs on people who did like basically the same thing and what they recommended. Um, and yeah, so what I did, I was only insured for the time that I was there, so I could not spend any more time in Canada that I had my insurance for.
Okay. Yeah.
So I really recommend to get a long insurance that
Yeah.
that you are able to spend as much time as possible in
Yeah.
Canada.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's really good advice actually. So make sure that you get enough insurance that is going to cover your 2-year visa. So you are going to get given, depending on which country you're from, you will get either a 1-year or a 2-year visa for Canada that will allow you to work for that entire time if you get a 2-year insurance policy. So it's something that we're going to drill into you if you come with a winter sports company. And if you intend to work for your gap year in Canada and do a full ski season, then you need to have a visa. You need to get it nice and early, and you need to make sure that that insurance policy covers the full duration that you want to be out in Canada. And like Charlotte wisely said, make sure it's as long as possible. Okay, next thing, what about the training? Any tips that you'd offer in regards to the training?
Um, Yeah, so for me it's quite easy to say because I was a little bit more experienced than my other friends. Um, but yeah, I think that your gear is like the most important thing. Like if you have skis from 1980s, you won't be able to do the stuff that you really want to do. And also like with the weather, it's like it's so important to have the right layers and jackets and gloves and whatever. Like there's no such thing that's more horrible than having to go inside after 2 hours of skiing because you're freezing. So yeah, and I'd say just go into a proper shop and get advice on what boots or what skis you should get. Like if you have skis already, like that's that's awesome. Like I didn't have to buy anything, but if you gonna buy something, just get proper advice in a shop. Yeah, that
Yeah,
yeah. And then if you have the right gear, you can learn anything.
yeah.
Like honestly, it's like yeah.
Yeah, agreed. And look, I always say if you turn up on the right gear and you're fit before you come out, not getting fit when you're out there, I think half the battle's won. Do you not think? Okay, last thing. So I think timing is everything in regards to this. And it's clear that you need to start nice and early, especially with the way that the IEC is going. But if you want to do a ski season in Canada, whether it's for your gap year, whether you're going to do a career break, you're going to come and be a ski instructor or snowboard instructor, or you're even going to come out and do ski patrolling, give us a shout, get in touch with a winter sports company, go online, have a look at our courses, and you can always give me a call and we'll go through all the nitty-gritty of the courses. We'll tell you how much it's going to cost, all those little extra amounts that add up. And hopefully it's suitable, and then you can decide whether to take another phone call or put us in the bin. But either way, we're here to help. And Charlotte, thank you very much for joining us today.
Oh,
It's
welcome.
appreciated. Good luck with the rest of your masters, and maybe we'll see you all on the slopes again.